everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing good. Today we are with a person who barely needs out any introduction. So he is probably one of the most famous B.Tech student of India who is actually holding a sky high everywhere, and he has backed out the biggest package of B.Tech where he has got a 3 crore package in Germany. We have today Mohammed Yasir with us here. Hey Mohammed, I would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Yasir and I'm currently joining from Germany for the podcast with Shambhavi. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot for coming here and joining this podcast. So, first of all, I would love to learn about your background. I know that you're from Kerala, right?
Yeah.
So, from Kerala, you came to Punjab, you took the admission and did your B.Tech. How is that switch been done?
Yeah, so for me, from my school time itself, I was so passionate about computer and computer science. I mean, technology basically. And I know only one thing, I need to pursue B.Tech in computer science. So after my 12th, I was looking for colleges and doing the entrance exam and everything. Then I find LPU and the ads were so attractive for me. So I thought it's a good place for me to experiment with my ideas, learn new things. And I saw there are good placements and all. So I decided to go to Punjab, and it's far from Kerala. So I love traveling. So as far as from Kerala was my goal at that time. So yeah, that's how I ended up at LPU.
Okay, now that's very nice from Kerala to Punjab. Nice distance actually. Okay, I have actually learned about you a little bit. So in that I got to know that into your first semester itself, you figured out that you want to go into machine learning and NLP. These were the things that excites you a lot, right? So what advice or how will you suggest the students that how did you figure out your interest within your first sem, that where to go and where not to go? Because right now in India, what's the main issue is that we are not able to recognize that what is our own interest. Till the 4th year also we're not able to do. So can you help us with that thing?
Yeah, so I didn't figure it out in first semester, but it was in my first year. It's because, in first semester or in the first 2 semesters, we have a lot of subjects to learn and go through it. And at the college, you have to meet new people, make friends, explore new activities and everything. It was a lot of overwhelming things happening at the college at that time. And I was happy, I didn't focus much on studying much, but instead of knowing everything, everyone, what everyone is interested. So basically networking with everyone got me into this field, because most of my friends were into web development. And when I started web development, I really hated it because I have no interest in that. So next I went to the different developing softwares like Java or Android mobile development. I tried it also, and it also didn't give me any interest much. Then I got to know the field of machine learning. At that time, we don't have machine learning courses there, just basic theory only. And in first it was very hard. So I did some research on my own, watching YouTube videos and stuff. So that's how I got to know okay, this is how Google search engine works. So there is some machine learning happening behind it, or YouTube recommendation has some machine learning. So these things was a very big curiosity for me. So that's how I thought, okay, let me focus on this and let me see if I can go into that. And to be honest, the most major factor that influenced me was there is a movie called Iron Man, where there's Jarvis, one AI, and that was the main influential factor for me. So I thought, okay, that is what I should do. I should build a Jarvis myself. So it took 1 year. Okay, it's not in 1 or 2 days I did it. It took me 1 year to realize what is my passion, what is not my passion. That's also very important. I have to be very clear about what I don't want to do. So I crossed off them from on my list. Then I thought, okay, let me build a Jarvis. So that's how I started my passion.
Okay, that's very you researched out a lot first of all in every field, whatever you were having at that time, and then you picked out that this one is the one.
Yeah.
So here the recommendation for all the students would be that first of all, within your first sem or first year, just try to go over all the fields which are right now into the market. Try to search about them, learn about them, and then take in that what the thing excites you, and then go for that particular thing.
Yes.
That's how.
Yeah, and the research doesn't mean you have to sit in front of a laptop and do a lot of Googling. It's not just that. It's talking to your friends, go to library, read some books, talk to your teachers. So talking and people who have similar interests, then only you will get to know if it is worth it going there or not. So my group of friends, we all have diverse interests. Like few of my friends are into, like I said, Android development, somewhere in data science, somewhere in just UI UX designers. So my group of friends were so diverse. So like we had like a strong connections. Like if I build something, I know like if I need a front end, I can go to my this friend. If I need a back end or some networking, I can go to this friend. So we all figured it out in this interview.
Okay, now that's very nice. Like it's a little bit rare thing to listen that friends have gathered up and that you all have figured out that what do you want to do. Okay, so Yasi, you have worked a lot in many companies. Like you did your internship in Tivo, then you just got a full-time offer. You worked for 3 years in Tivo, then you switched to Germany, Zoom, and now you're in Mercedes. So I just want to learn a little about what are your opinions over the product-based companies and the service-based companies. Maybe if you suggest which one is the good for a student to go.
This is a very controversial thing if I say, but what I would say is like always prefer product-based companies. It's really hard to get into a product-based companies than a service-based companies, but the difference is there's a very huge difference. Okay, so the thing is, in product-based companies, you have, first of all, there is a big salary gap difference. Like the salary range is very high compared to service-based. Next thing is you actually get to work on a product that is used by like maybe millions of users. So for me, in my case, at Tivo, the user base is more than 300 million users, and I got to work on real-time search and recommendations, NLP and stuff like that. So I was able to learn a lot, get an ownership of product, and from there only I got this ladder of professional achievement. So I always prefer go for product-based companies. And service-based companies I would prefer only if you don't have any other options, or like you are really interested in that field. In that scenarios, of course, you should go for that. But in other cases, like if you want to develop, you want to be more of a product guy, go for this one. Yeah.
Okay, so product-based companies. Yeah. Okay, so even you mentioning that you just made a Jarvis project into your first year, right?
Yeah, I started it
Yes.
in my first semester. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's very great actually. So I would like love to know a little bit about that. What are your tips for the college students or for a bachelor student? What projects they should do, add into their resumes, and what kind of those projects should be?
Yeah. So nowadays getting project is very easy. Like you can just Google and you can just find some basic projects and start it. But that actually doesn't add value to your profile. So first and the foremost thing I would say everyone to start is like build a profile, like make a website of yours, like put your photo, put your name, address. Like that's the first project you should start. Okay, it would be very bad looking initially. Like I can guarantee you, there will be nothing. It will be your name, your B.Tech or something. That's it. So your goal should be like build that profile. Like you should add more lines as you go, like 3 months, 5 months, next year, 2 years after. So you should focus on that at the beginning. Then start on some passionate project. For me, I started that Jarvis project. So I called it Wiki at that time. So and we added a lot of features. Like we were living in hostel, so we wanted to wake up with an alarm. We want to get reminded of our projects, assignments, and everything. So me and my roommates, I make it, and my roommates would do the testing because they are from a BBA and they don't know anything about coding. So what they do is they do all the testing. Then they will complain to me, hey, this is not working, I need this feature. So they complain and I make new features. So I started my project from my second semester. It went till my sixth semester, and until I get an internship, till I went to the job, I was working on it continuously. Okay, so it's not like a 1 day or 2 weeks or 1 month project. It was like 2.5 years of project I did. And it was out of my sheer will only. Like nobody told me to do it. Nobody told me like, okay, go and do that, or which language, nothing. It was my will. At the same time, I did some projects for my courses, some other minor projects for different fields. Like, so for example, I wanted to know what data mining was. So I started a project on data mining. Like I went to IMDb and like crawled through the IMDb website and make movie names, actors list and all things like that. Or maybe if I want to do website projects, so I made my own profile. So I want to know how HTML, CSS and everything works, which I never liked, and it looks very ugly that time. So similarly, like that only I tried. So whenever you like something or you want to explore something, go and do a project. Maybe you don't know anything. I didn't know anything because at that time I only know Java. and I had only basic knowledge of C or C++. But sometimes, in my project, I want to make something faster. Then I have to go with C++. Then I have to go to Stack Overflow, read the documentation, write some code. Then I have to figure it out myself. Okay, why does this code works like, or why does the for loop goes like this? Then I have to figure it out myself. So that's how you learn. Okay, in my experience, we don't get to spoon feed anything. We have to figure it out ourselves. We will be stuck. Definitely will be stuck. I still remember, like, in my project, there was a problem of calculation. Like, you have to ask the AI, like, add 2 plus 3 plus divided by something, and like that. And I was thinking, like, hey, it's a string. How can I make it to numbers? How can I add? How can it understand what is the Bode-Mass rule? How can I do it? I was beating around my head for like 2 weeks just to figure out that solution. So that's the fun of doing the projects, right? And how it benefits you is, like, when a company comes for interview, you get to tell the story of how you solved it, how you figured it out, what were your challenges, everything. They don't want you to do some big project that's available in Google. They want you to do a small project, but it's all your your inputs, your thoughts, your problem solving skills. So that's what I would recommend to everyone.
Right. So now, like nowadays, what is actually the students are doing? They are just like simply copy pasting a project from the Google or YouTube, and they're just putting that onto your resume. And when the interviewer comes, they ask 2, 3 questions, and like they automatically get to know that okay, this is a project which has been copied from somewhere or something. So like Yasir did that particular thing.
Yeah, so that is very easy, right? You will get interview, of course. If you do like such copy paste, you will get an interview. But in interview, definitely they will figure it out. If you put anything on your resume, the interviewers know, because I have taken a lot of interviews. So I know, like, when somebody is like saying he knows Python, and if I ask them, okay, what's the difference between Drupal and this, and if they're saying me some Googled answer, I can get to know it very quickly. That's, everyone will know that. If you done some project from code, they will ask you, okay, how you solve this particular problem, then you will be stuck at that point. And that's a really bad impression about you. So it's better to do at least very basic, like if you do build a calculator or a small tic-tac-toe game, even though it is small, it's your own, so you should be proud about what you do, even though it is small.
So generally copy pasting won't work out, and like that's the main biggest reason that why Yasir landed there in Germany with a 3 CR packet right now and working very beautifully over there. So guys, understand that particular thing. Yeah. Okay. So Yasir, maybe like you have worked a lot of the internships also. You told that you have worked over 2 internships. What were those companies?
So I primarily worked with TiVo only for 1 year. I did my whole 4th year was the internship with TiVo, and for the first 6 months I worked with a team called Metadata. So where we did a lot of data mining. Basically TiVo worked on entertainment domain, so they need a lot of entertainment related data, like actors' name, movie names, producers, directors, music, podcast, everything. So I have to do the mining and arrange the data properly, do it in automated way, not like manually. So we write scripts on how to crawl through Wikipedia or any other websites and arrange it. And later I moved to a team called Advanced Search and Recommendation. So that was like an amazing work there. So it's basically like same what I did in my project. It's an AI where you can talk, or you can search, like you can ask, like, show me a movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. So it will be able to figure out who is Tom Cruise, who is Nicole Kidman, how are they related, what are the movies they did. So it was my work to figure out like the entities, the names, how this data is related, find a good search result for them. So that's how exciting that team was. And I continued. I got my full-time job there, and I worked there for more than 4 years. Yeah.
Okay, so your experience of metadata and TiVo, which you worked in both internships companies, like how that helped you in the interview of Zoom, and basically how can students utilize up their internship experience and get a full-time job, and how does it help actually?
Yeah, so one thing you have to remember is, like, internship is also a job only. It's like the name is different, but internship, basically you do the same work as any other software engineer, but your responsibilities is very less. You're not responsible for anything, and you're learning basically. So during internship, what you have to focus is you should understand what you're working on. That's most important thing. What is your product? What are you doing? What part of the system you're working on? Are you a backend guy? Are you a networking guy? Are you doing a front end? Or what module are you focused on? So you should have a good understanding of that. And how this will help is like, so like I said, when I got converted, I was working in the same team, same work. It was done for 3 years. Then when I got the interview for Zoom, so in Zoom, I was a recruiter for the team called Real-Time Translation and Transcription. So basically in a meeting, when we talk, we could see the subtitles, like if it is in English or Hindi or any like 30 languages with translation. Okay, like if I speak in Hindi and you can see the subtitle in English, maybe if I speak in Malayalam, you can translate into whatever language you want. So that was the team, and I was the only. Everyone was like PhD scientist guys in this team, and some are machine learning engineers, and I was the only software engineer working on like scaling up the system. Okay, so Zoom has like millions, hundreds of millions of users, and in software engineering, scaling up is a very big task, and we don't study this in our B.Tech or anywhere. So you have to understand, like when you're making a product used by millions of users, there is a chance of crashing, or maybe server going down, or giving it a real time speed. Like it's, especially in video calls, it should be real time. So my experience in TiVo, which helped me on doing the NLP side, implementing it here. Also, I learned a lot from TiVo on scaling up, building the system for millions of users. So I brought the same experience here, and I helped Zoom to like scale up very quickly in this past 1 year. Yeah, that was nice. Then later I got an offer from Mercedes. Then I switched.
Okay, so awesome. So even we heard that you got like recruiters automatically reached you out for the Zoom over the LinkedIn. So generally, how did you utilize your LinkedIn? That because getting an offer from recruiter over LinkedIn, that's very rare because recruiters generally don't reach out. So like, how did you utilize your LinkedIn and how did you did so?
Yeah, for me, LinkedIn is a very crucial place for me because I maintain my profile like in a very good way. I learned this from my college only. Like I remember one of my sir saying, you should prepare yourself like a guy who is going to get married. So you should be always have a good profile, impressing someone. So that was the mantra we used to follow. So we had a good LinkedIn profile with good data. We add everything whatever possible. So for me, I get frequently contacted by recruiters. Like every once or twice in a week, I get messages from various recruiters on various opportunities. So LinkedIn is a very important factor. Like if you have a good profile, good contents, like you add your skill set there, recruiters will automatically find you. And for me, Zoom was like that. Like the recruiter of Zoom contacted me through LinkedIn initially, and we had an initial call, and I talked about the team and everything. Once I find it nice, then we went ahead with the proper interviews.
Okay, that's like pretty cool. You used out the LinkedIn in the best way for you actually.
Yeah, LinkedIn is like your first window for any recruiter to see. Then if you maintain it nicely, it's a great opportunity for everyone.
That's so true. So, like, whenever we talk about any respective job role or anything, the very first thing that comes in a student's mind is DSA, right? So, that DSA is having that three words is a fear in our mind. So, what tips will you advise to all the students over here about the DSA?
DSA is a very interesting topic. Okay, to be honest, I had zero knowledge in DSA when I was in my college. Okay, like first year I didn't know anything about DSA. Second year again I didn't know anything about DSA, but I know there was some theoretical class happening. But I never, like I know what is stack, what is list, and what is everything. But I never thought like how do you use it, what is the purpose of it. I never understood it. Then in my third year, like when these hackathons are happening, like a lot of companies come with their hackathons, their different programs and everything, and I see like some of my batchmates who is solving this gigs for gigs questions or hacker rank questions. They solve it like in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe like in 10-15 minutes, and I was like still reading the question. I was like, hey, this is the story, how can I solve it? Like what is this question? Like I never understood anything. Okay, I had zero knowledge. So I want to tell all the students who feels not good, I was like that. I had zero knowledge. Okay, then one of my friend, he taught me few tricks on how to learn DSA. So he showed me an hacker rank question. He told me like, see, this is going this way. This is an array and it's increasing. So you should use binary search here because it's a sorted array. Then I understood, okay, there is a pattern. Then that's how I got interested. Okay, this is a proper problem solving. It's not about how much you know theory. It's about like how you can find the pattern. And I learned like 10-20% of DSA before the interviews for internships. And internship, they don't ask you very hard question, only basic question. So I just covered that basic part and I got it. But once after my internship, when I was looking for full-time job, I did like 3-4 months. I sit and I learned a lot of DSA. Like I did lead code programming a lot. Like every day I solved like 5 to 6 questions. It's not easy. It's very hard. Sometimes very easy questions take 1 hour, 2 hours to solve. But the point for me was like to understand the pattern. And when I say this, like I cracked the interview, then also I got the job. But that doesn't mean it stops there. Okay. After 3 years, when I was switching for Zoom, even though recruiters contacted me, they gave the interview. I have to again prepare the same DSA from scratch. So again, I took 3 months of preparation for that. Then when I was switching again from to the Mercedes, again 2 months of preparation. So this never stops. DSA is something you have to learn always. You have to keep your mind updated every day. It's like a game. You just have to play with it, keep in touch with it, and it will be easy for you. Only the initial few time will be hard, but once you're fundamentally strong, it will be easier. So don't get scared, okay?
So generally, building the like logic over the DSA and practicing that on the daily basis can help you out a lot over the DSA.
Yeah.
So
As
like
students, yeah. One more thing I want to add. As students, it's good for you to practice every day. When you are in full-time job, it's very hard. You have to work for your like you have a full-time job. You have to take care of your family or your household things. Many other activities will be there. Including that, you have to add this studying DSA. It's very hard. But as a student, your job is studying only. So adding this is not a huge effort. So utilize this time as much as you can.
so true, absolutely. So yeah, so you have even taken a lot of interviews of the people. So what suggestions will you suggest for making a resume or making a CV? What pointers to add and where to take care of?
For resume, yeah, the simple tips are like make your resume concise. Like when you add your experience or your projects, have some bullet points. Don't write a paragraph of what you did. Nobody's gonna read a paragraph, okay? Because we don't want to read. We are lazy, first of all. So it should be bullet points. Just mention whatever you did. Like you did something with the machine learning, mention it in a bullet point. What algorithm you use, mention in a bullet point. So add as much bullet points as you can. Finish it in within 1 or 2 pages, and only add relevant skills. Okay, don't add skills like I am quick at doing something. Instead of that, just add something valuable to the company, to the team. And if you add anything, you should have a justification for that in an interview. If you add problem solving as a skill, they will ask you like where did you show your problem solving skill? So you should have a story to answer. And for once you have a good resume, you should have, there's a method called STAR. That means situation, task, action, result. So I follow this. So whenever there is, let's say you add a skill like Python. Let's say you add Python. Then you should have a story about Python. Like why you learned Python. What was the situation you need? What you build with that? What was the result of that? So that's why I say have a project on Python. Then you can say I found this situation, this need. So I made a project on that, and the result of this project was this good. So you can have a good story about all the points you're mentioning in your resume. So that's how you can crack your interview also.
Okay, so making it concise and making it of 1 or 2 pages, adding the relevant skills, these are few pointers, right? Okay, so like you have even given a lot of interviews. So quick 3 interview tips which you want to give to all the students who are watching out this podcast.
Yeah, first thing, don't lie about anything. And don't be too honest also. Like don't tell everything that's not needed for the job. And yeah, second thing I want to say, like have this STAR thing, like situation, task, action and result based storytelling. So basically you should be able to to storytelling, okay? Not like somebody asks you, what are your skills? You just go and say, I know Java, I know Python, I know MySQL. Don't go like that. Instead, say a story about it, like why and how and everything like that. Make it a conversation, not like, one-to-one question and answer. Instead of that, make it a conversation. So it should be like 70% you, 30% is the interviewer talking. So be natural about it, yeah. So that's the best thing I would say. That's what I learned from all my interviews, yeah. That helps a lot.
Okay. Even like making your project which you made for Jarvis maybe for 2 or 2+ years, that wasn't a like really a easy task because we even don't get the idea that what to make, and you have just done that for continuous 2 years. So like what was the practice of learning? How did you like learned out the things, and what was your main objective behind learning, and what was the method how you learned all this?
Yeah, so initially when I started it, it was very naive. Like it was just if else condition. Okay, if somebody asks this, answer this. If somebody asks this, answer. That was the first prototype. Okay, it's stupid now if you think about it, but at that time it was like, I did something. That was the feeling. Then after when I do something, then I have some questions. Like I said, when I want to ask, add 2 + 5. Then how can I do 2 + 5? Like you cannot do an if condition, right? Like you cannot say if somebody asks you this, it's not possible. So then I have to figure out, okay, how can I make a string? The string is like what? Space 2 + 5. It's the string. So I have to search, okay, how can I break strings? How can I find out numbers in the strings? How can I do addition operation in the string? So that's how the problem comes, right? So once you find out the problem, then you would do the research. You go to Gigs for Gigs, you go to Stack Overflow, you go for the documentation, you read some string algorithms, you find about, data structures like stack, where you can reverse your strings coming when you find out the number. So this is how I figured out. Then once I implement it, then I go to that, then some friends will come, they will test it, they will say, hey, this is not working. Then I find new problem, then I will solve it again. So on top of that, I will add it and go. And meanwhile, in courses, like I have to make a tic-tac-toe game for something else. Then later I implemented that same project here. So when I ask, hey, I want to play a game, it will go and open a tic-tac-toe game. So that's how I implement. It's like, adding one on another. So that way I went again. So every time you find a problem, go research about it and so on. So this is how, job also. Like if you're a software engineer, this is your job. You will find a problem. You have to research about it, read many research papers or anything similar to like that, find a solution, implement it, and improve the implement later, like make it more efficient, more faster, everything like that. So that's how you go on with project or your work or anything.
Right. So that's a continuous process, an ongoing process about all that.
Yeah. Yes, that's how, like when I started it, I didn't know about machine learning algorithms. And I think after 6 months of that project only, I got to know about machine learning prediction, like basic regressions and all, regression model and all. Then I learned about it. At that time, it was all in Python. I was doing it in Java. Then I have to find a way how to integrate Java and Python together. So see, this is how problems come. This is how I implement it. Then it might not be good implementation. It might not be efficient, but it is something, As a student, it is a big deal. And that gave me a lot of interview opportunity. Like whenever I go to an interview for the placement time, like 30 minutes, the talking will be about this project only. There is nothing else. They talk about this project, and it gave me a huge advantage because it's everything about the project I know. If they ask me something like do some joining in MySQL or some crazy questions about programming, maybe I will not be able to answer. But because of my project, the whole interview was focused on that, and I was able to answer everything.
Yeah, that was actually a good point which you mentioned, that if you make something of your own, the whole interview will be focused over that particular thing only, and maybe the questions will be asked from that because you have made it onto your own, so you better know the answers for that. So that's a very good advice which you have given over here. So 1 year back you're working over Zoom, right? Now you're working to Mercedes. So how did this particular transition happen?
So in Mercedes, I got an interview call for a position of software architect, and which is more senior position than a software engineer. So and since Mercedes is one of my passionate company, because I'm a huge car enthusiast, and this is like my top list of car companies, and the team was really amazing. The team is they are working on the production line of all cars of Mercedes, okay, including trucks, vans, and everything. And I thought of myself, like I get to decide, like as a software architect, you get to decide what technologies goes in, what should be implemented, what should not be implemented, how to make it efficient, not all the tech decisions are made by architects. And I was thinking like I would be a person who would be making decisions on all the vehicles made by Mercedes Benz. Okay. And if I see a Mercedes car on the road, I can say probably like, I see that car has that technology implemented by me. So it was a nice offer for me. So I thought, yeah, why not? Then I chose it. It's a more senior position and good growth for me. So that's how I switched.
Okay, very nice. And like right now, even we are hearing a lot of about the layoffs and the recessions, right? So like a student is getting over some job, and the layoff and recessions are the things which are taking it down. So what skills are need to be polished out a lot so that a student or person can defeat out this recession and the layoff?
Yeah, one thing, this recession and layoffs are not something of in our control. Okay, if your corporate decides to lay off some people, it will be done. So no matter what you are, but always prevention is also better. Like you could be better at something. Like for example, you can have some key skills that nobody else in your team has. You can own certain products, certain modules by yourself, so that you are the sole owner of that. So it's very hard to replace you. So be a person who is hard to be replaceable. So that's the only key skill you can have, and that is up to you. You have to work with your team, you have to work with your organization and figure out what is that particular key part you want to be. Once you figure it out, be that irreplaceable guy, and yeah, that's the only way. But again, it's something out of our control. But as a tech guy, I would not say recession and layoff is not a bad thing, because once you are laid off, or once you get another opportunity quickly, if you have good skills, you will get it soon. You will not be beating around bush any soon. So it's not that bad. But yeah, be a guy with good skill set.
Yeah, that's so true. Like if you're having a good skills, you will be landed a good job for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you passed out in 2018, completed your graduation 2018, and it's been like 5 years. You have worked a lot of. You worked in Tivo, you worked in Zoom, you traveled to Germany. You are like working Mercedes. So now, next, what are the plans? What are you next gonna do?
For me, yeah, I have a lot of plans, but I'm still a procrastinator. But still, I have some of my personal projects still going on. I still do a lot of personal projects. So sometimes I'm hoping something will go out and give out to public one day. I have made certain projects in COVID time, helping local people in my village and all. So, and mentoring students. That's also something I'm keep planning to keep going. Yeah, that's it. And some future plans are yet to be seen. Yeah.
Okay, so great. So, like, I was very curious for a non-technical question to you. So that is like, I have learned about a lot of you that you have done a lot of things in the technical field. Apart from that, you might be having some hobbies, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what are your top two hobbies?
So for me, one thing is like I love cooking. Okay, so cooking is like a meditation for me. So whenever like I get time, I go and cook something very big feast. I invite my friends and all. So that's like a meditation for me. Next thing is like traveling. I love traveling. So one of the main reason I came to Europe itself is like traveling a lot. So I make sure like I travel at least twice in a month. Cover as much as country as possible, and yeah, make some budgeting for that, find some time for that, along with all my other activities. I make some YouTube videos, I mentor students, and yeah, and I have a full-time job also, so everything I have to maintain. Along with it, I find some time to travel and everything.
Okay, it's like you're managing up your time very nicely because you are doing all the things and like getting time for your own self also. So yeah, that's very good, very nice of you.
Yeah, and one thing, if you come to Germany, everything is planned. Here, people plan for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years ahead. So I learned some skills from this country also. So that helps me on planning things.
Okay, that's very nice again. So one last question, Yasir, to you. What advice will you suggest, will you give to all the students here watching out this podcast? What advice is that which you want to give?
One thing, okay, so for all the students, I want to say enjoy your life first of all. Don't be worried about all these chaos happening around you. First, enjoy your life, prioritize everything. Like figure out your priority. Like if you want to do a job, if you want to go for masters, if you want to go out and do something different entirely. So just have your priorities straight. Once you have that, then go and figure out a way to go get into that direction. If you want a job, go and start with doing some projects, figure out which field you want to do, what type of projects you want, whom all you want to show it. If you're good at some extracurricular activities, go and do that. If you're a good dancer, dance. If you're a good singer, go and sing. So do everything whatever you can in this small period of time, because college or university time is such a golden age in your whole life. You will never get it back. So that's a place where you can figure out who you are, what you want to do, your passion and everything. And one thing I want to say, like one of my professor in LPU who told me, like, close your eyes and imagine who you want to be in your next 3 years, next 5 years, and next 10 years. Like imagine like what kind of job you want to do in once you graduated, where you want to sit, what kind of dress you are wearing, what kind of mobile phone you want to use, what kind of house or car you want. So imagine that, dream that, and go in that direction. So you can guide yourself, have a good vision and good dream, and keep working on that. Yeah, that's the best thing you can do.
Absolutely right. So thanks a lot, Yasir, for joining over here. I am very sure that all the students are gonna get a lot of information, lot of advices and suggestions from this complete podcast and complete journey of yours. It's been a very awesome journey. I even learned a lot about you today. So thank you a lot for joining, and hope your future plans, whatever you have planned, I wish you all the very best for that.
Yeah, thank you, Shambhavi. It's great talking to you. It was nice. And yeah, I'm happy I could help.